welcome to TheBlack.Blog. Looking forward to talking to you to learn more about you and your business and how you got started. So, first things first, tell us who you are.
Yes, so my name is Kaylon Beck, and I am the owner of Beck&Call Hospitality. Do you want me to give you the whole spiel now or wait until?
I mean, we're going to go through it anyway. So.
Okay. All right. So our vision is to redefine hospitality through a cultural lens. We currently are doing that by curating, hosting, and planning events around the city of Houston. We started out as a boutique event planning agency focusing on weddings and intimate gatherings, and now we're pivoting to work with more community organizations and corporations to help elevate their event, with the goal of opening a bed and breakfast here in Houston pretty soon. So the idea is to integrate the events into our own space and offer more of an elevated hospitality experience for travelers coming to Houston.
Wow. And that was a great introduction because it gives
Thank you.
a lot of directions to go in. So tell me about, do you have any experience in the hospitality industry? Okay, so tell me about that.
Yes. So I actually attended the University of Houston for hotel and restaurant management. Received my bachelor's degree in 2014. While I was there, I interned with a lot of different companies, mainly in food and beverage. So I have a lot of service-based experience in terms of serving, catering, events. Once I graduated from U of H, I started my own event planning business and then decided to go back to school. I'm not sure why I did that, but I went back and got my MBA from Howard University. And so since I graduated from Howard, I've just been mainly focusing on my business. I did work in fundraising for quite a bit. So I have experience in nonprofit and hospitality, which, if you really think about it, you have to be hospitable in the nonprofit space. So,
yes, you do.
Yeah, especially when you're asking people for money. So, I worked for UNCF during COVID. I worked as a development director for 3 years, and I actually left a year ago to focus on my business. So, yes.
Well, congratulations for making the leap to full-time entrepreneurship.
The journey still a journey. Yeah.
That's a whole different kind of a conversation, right? Yeah. So tell me, the name of your business is Beck&Call Hospitality, which is such a great name. Tell me about the origin of that name and why you decided that we needed Beck&Call Hospitality.
Yes. So the origin of it is actually a pretty funny story. My sister helped me to come up with the name. My sister owns a business as well, and I wanted something that I knew would be memorable, like people could remember it, but then also that was very personal for me. My last name is Beck, as I'm sure you've seen. So one day I had already created the business plan for it and everything, but I didn't have a name. And so one day me and my sister were brainstorming, and she was just she started using everything. She started using my initials. She started using our last name, and then she just blurted out. She was like, "What about Beck&Call? Like, at your beck and call?" And I was like, "That's it." So ever since then, and that was in 2020, I just rolled with it. So I created the logo and I got the LLC, and I recently just got it trademarked, well, trademark approval, because it takes a year.
It does.
So it got approved in January through my attorney. So I'm sticking with it. I'm rolling with it. Now the bed and breakfast may not be Beck&Call. It might be a different name under Beck&Call, but that's the origin of the name. And I think that it's needed because Black travelers aren't always represented in marketing when we travel, or in terms of booking excursions and looking for things to do, we're not always the target audience. And I found that out the hard way recently through doing some research and working with a friend who was pulling some data for me for my business plan. And she was like, I couldn't find much. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's crazy because most of the brands market to Black women, but it's hard to find that information in terms of hospitality and travel. So the main reason why we're doing this is to promote Black heritage and tourism into hospitality, because when we travel, we want to see different things. We want to pretty much embrace whatever city we're in. We want to embrace that culture. And I think that's important, especially here in Houston.
I agree. It just in general, not just in Houston, but I
Hmm.
definitely agree that curated experiences for Black travelers, Black women travelers is certainly a great area of opportunity that's long overdue, especially since we will spend some coin on travel.
Yeah,
So,
we will. Yes, we will spend money on travel. That's one thing. Travel and
yeah,
anything beauty, anything beauty.
for sure.
Yeah.
So, tell me about, I know that you have a background in hospitality, as why hospitality is my first love. As well. But so tell me some of the events you've hosted in the past, maybe some
Mhm.
that are most memorable, and perhaps some experiences that you want to recreate on an elevated level through Beck and
Yeah.
Call Hospitality.
Yeah. That's a good question because I've done a lot of events, like planned them. I've also have a lot in my brain that I want to plan. So I would say the most memorable, I'll give you three of them. So the first fundraiser I did was a hospitality dinner for Juneteenth, and we highlighted African American business owners in the hospitality industry. So pretty much all the vendors were Black. We chose a Black venue, so it's a Black female owned art gallery here in Houston that sponsored their space. They let us have it for free. We had a Black chef. We had a Black bartending company, and the idea was that each of the owners told their story about how they got started,
Mhm.
what Juneteenth meant to them. And we were able to get a company to do the recordings in the studio, and we aired the video during the dinner. So it was Beck and Call's first fundraiser. And it was very memorable because I feel like I had a lot of support from the vendors that were participating, and we were able to sell tickets to people who were interested in doing something, on Juneteenth for Juneteenth to celebrate Black owned businesses. Another event that I like doing, my a fitness studio, a pole fitness studio, and I collaborated with her to do R&B yoga. So we've done about three R&B yoga sessions at her studio, and then my most recent event that I really enjoyed, we did a flower bouquet workshop where I collaborated with my friend that's a florist, and we hosted a floral bouquet workshop in the community. Um, Offered like charcuterie and wine, and it was a really good time. Had a really good playlist, and so those are the type of events that I want to actually host in my bed and breakfast once I get it. But the idea is that we're just spreading the word and building up our brand now
Mm.
until we open.
Which is the right way to do it. It makes me cringe when people say build it and they will come. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's the reverse way.
yeah.
Make sure the people know that you're coming long before you show up, so that you have that whole scarcity mentality and people get excited about it. So I've heard
Mhm.
you mention a couple times that Beck and Call brings an elevated experience. Tell me what your definition of an elevated experience is.
Yeah, I think that from my creativity, and not just me, I have a team that helps me, with events and things like that. But we're kind of taking more of a personalized approach to the event. So, in terms of me planning events for other people, We like to just dive deep into what the customer wants, and most of the time it's something different and out of the box than, like a ordinary wedding that you would see like on Pinterest. It's more of a how creative can we be with what we have and with the what the budget is. So for me, I don't want to offer like a cookie cutter type of service events, or even like decor. Everything we're doing is elevated to another level in terms of how do you want, the stage design for this event, or what are your vibrant colors for a wedding? What's making your event stand out from the next person. And so honestly, with the current transition that we're in, we're finding more clients that want to take, more of a bold approach in terms of planning an event and not have something that's pretty common. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I like, is just being able to work with people who are very creative and open to doing something out of the box.
Awesome. Now, and I know you said in the beginning that Beck and Call might not be the name of the bed and breakfast, but I can't help but to think
Yeah.
how alluring a bed and breakfast named Beck and Call would be, right? Because in my head, that means you're going to be available to me at my beck and call, even if that may not be entirely true. I'm
Yeah.
more likely to book someplace like that versus,
Yeah.
Oscar's Palace or something,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
said they can call, and that's definitely what I want when I travel. So that just keeps coming up for me.
I'm gonna keep that in mind.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for
Definitely keep it
sure.
in mind.
Now on your website, we see that you have several partners, including Black Girl Ventures. Tell me about
Mhm.
that partnership and the impact it's had on your business so far.
Yeah, so I actually participated in their fellowship program.
Mhm.
So I have them listed on my website because I've worked with them to help plan an event when I was a part of the fellowship program back in 2022.
Okay.
And it was a cohort of about 6 of us locally, but they had different groups in different cities. And throughout the fellowship, we were able to network with other female business owners, get access to a lot of funding opportunities. We did receive a grant through the program. Um, we were able to host events locally for other female entrepreneurs, such as a pitch competition at the Cannon, Cannon is like a kind of like an incubator space here in Houston.
Mhm.
Um, and then also every month we had to attend webinars about leadership growth and growing your business, scaling your business, mental health, different things like that. So honestly, I'm very appreciative of Black Girl Ventures because they were the first ones to give me a grant, but also because of the network around it.
Mhm.
I still to this day talk to all of the females that were a part of my cohort here in Houston, and they still to this day are providing us with a lot of resources. For example, during Women's History Month in March, we were all invited to a dinner sponsored by Black Girl Ventures and TikTok, where we were able to practice our business pitches at the dinner and just network. And then also getting access to free Spanish classes, because on my goal for this year, it was to learn Spanish, and now they offer some free Spanish classes. So I start the class next month. So different things like that
Mhm.
have been beneficial as a business owner,
Yeah.
is what I appreciate the most about them.
Look at the universe. You put it on your list,
Oh, yes. And
opportunity
it
just
came.
shows up. Which
Yes.
is what entrepreneurship is all about. It's more of a
Yes.
faith journey, faith with action, of course, but
Yes.
faith more than anything else. So I heard you talk about the events that you put on in conjunction with your team. Congratulations on having a team.
It's small, but
That's okay. Tell me about
mhm.
the folks on your team and how you all were able to come together to produce the great stuff that you've been doing.
Yes. So I started out hiring my first part-time employee a couple years ago, right when I started Beck and Call Hospitality. and she was a social media manager. So that kind of like kick-started me like growing my team.
Mm-hmm.
She's no longer with me. She left in October. She was with me for about 3 years. But she was a part of not only social media, but marketing as well. So she would help with, you know, creating the Eventbrite
Mm-hmm.
link and
Yeah.
creating a flyer for it, putting it on Google Events. Um, Also during that time, I hired an event assistant, and she's still with me. She actually reached out to me through social media and mentioned that she wanted to get some experience because she was a student as well at the University of Houston, and she wanted to get a little bit more experience on the event planning side. So she helps me a lot with more of the admin tasks like emails and um, creating like a vision board for the event and being there on the day of.
Okay.
I have another very close friend that I hired. She's more so like my creative director because she helps with just the vision, the whole vision and meaning of the event. Because I don't like doing events if it doesn't make sense. Because
Got it.
money, it don't make sense. So,
Yeah.
so it's like I can't just do an event because I want to. It has to have some meaning behind it, and she steps in and helps me with that. And then outside of events, I do have a realtor that I've been working with for about 4 years, but he's also served as kind of like coach in terms of helping me with financials for my business and what's going to work, what area I need to be looking in for the bed and breakfast. So that's my team. And then, of course, I get help from my family, as always. Uh,
Of course.
of course, I get help from my dad and my sister and my mom. So, yeah. Yeah.
I know from your social media that it seems like you have a particular space in mind that you've identified for the bed and breakfast, and it seems like you are working on raising the capital for this facility. Is that right?
Correct.
Can you
Yes.
tell me a little bit about the location you have identified and what's your strategy to bring it to life?
Yeah. So I've identified a few properties actually, but with the
Okay.
way people are moving to Houston, they don't stay on the market for too long. So one of them that I recently looked at, I have a potential investor that is interested in investing, and she actually found the property. Um, it's not on the market yet though, so we're just waiting. Um, the interesting thing about where I really want the bed and breakfast is it's in Third Ward, Houston, which is a very popular neighborhood. Like a lot of people come to Third Ward to eat, go hang out. It's the University of Houston, Texas Southern University, all that's in Third Ward. So it's ideal for something like this. However, the property value is so much. And with me being a single Black woman, I can only show so much in income
Yeah.
to have a space as big as I need it. So a lot of people tell me I need to start small, and I'm like, well, this technically is starting small because, what I really want, I know I can't get just yet. But um, right now, in terms of funding, I have been going back and forth personally with if I wanted to deal with investors, if I want to get a business loan, because the interest rates on those can be very tricky. Um, I've been applying for grants for a long time, but I haven't really gotten many. So just been trying to figure out what that looks like. I did do a crowdfunding campaign back in 2021 with I Fund Women, and I raised about 11,000. That mostly went to like my day-to-day operations, paying for the social media manager, and different things like that. So right now I'm just torn in between what's the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
Um, and I know there's no right or wrong answer, but for 1 second I was like, well, maybe I don't want to deal with investors. And then the investor called me out the blue and was like, hey, I found a property. And I was like, that. So right now I'm just taking it day by day and trying to figure out what makes the most sense and what can I afford, because I don't want to be in debt. And kind of like what does my target audience want to see? Like, where would they want to to stay.
Yeah. Well, I think a couple things to consider. Um, let it rest in your spirit and see how it feels.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna give you your answer.
Mm-hmm.
May or may not be the answer that you want. The answer in terms of, do you want investors or do you want to take out a loan?
Yeah.
Spend some time with it in your spirit. It'll come to you
Yeah.
if you sit with it and listen. So tell us, how did you find out about the Black Business Scholarship? How did you get to us? How did we get on your radar?
Yes. And I was trying to earlier today. I was thinking, how did I find out about the Black? I want to say it had to be through social media. It had to be because so I have a grant tracker where I track all of like the grants I'm applying to, and I asked my assistant to add this grant or this scholarship to that grant tracker.
Mhm.
And I think I sent her a screenshot of one of your social media posts and she added it. So definitely it had to be Instagram, probably.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Because we like to know how people are finding
Yeah.
us to help us know
I understand.
where we should spend more
I
or
asked
less
the same
time.
question. Yeah. I asked the
Um,
same question.
so now, if you were to receive the scholarship, how would you utilize the funds?
Yeah. So right now I'm working on getting my women's own certificate.
Okay.
And I would use the funds, if not for that certification, then my minority owned. But right now, literally today, I was working through the application, so I would definitely use the funds for that because as an event planner, I know it will look better if I had certifications for those government contracts.
Mhm.
And we have some events coming in Houston that I would love to be put in the pool for. For example, Afrotech is coming in November, so I would love to be put in the pool for that. And I just think being certified will make my business look more reputable and a little bit more professional than others. So yeah.
Got it. Okay, we're nearing the end, and this might be one of my favorite questions so far. So, one of the things
Mhm.
we often talk about, I think, particularly as a culture, is getting together to fellowship, or whatever you call it, whether that's Sunday dinner or whatever it is. And one of the ways we tend to gather is for a cookout. So one of the questions we ask everyone that we talk to here at the Black.Blog is, if we were having a cookout, what would you be bringing to the cookout? What's your signature thing
I'll bring it to the
to
cookout.
bring to the cookout?
Um, I'm bringing something sweet. So
Okay.
it's either gonna be a cake or it's gonna be some cupcakes because I love sweets. And so I would say I'm bringing something sweet.
Something sweet. Okay, cool. We've been talking about having a cookout in person,
Yeah.
2024, maybe 2025. So now we're keeping a list of what everybody we talked to says that they're bringing. So when
Yeah.
it's time, we're going to be reaching out for your item.
I can definitely bring that. I sometimes could bring both the cake and the cupcakes because that's how much I love sweets. So that's me.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's good. So I don't think we've had too
Mhm.
much dessert so far. So that's a good thing. I heard you say you went to an HBCU. I said a Howard, and HBCU.
Mhm.
Our founder and CEO is an alumni of the illustrious North Carolina A&T.
A&T. Oh,
So we have heavy HBCU pride here at the Black.Blog. So it always makes us excited when we
yes.
can talk to a fellow HBCU alum. And one of the things we like to understand ourselves personally and to help our audience understand, also either understand or consider, is the role that HBCUs play in the Black community.
Mhm.
What impacts, if any, do you think HBCUs have on the Black community?
Oh wow. So I had always wanted to go to HBCU. Let me clear that up. I wanted to go to HBCU for undergrad, but I never forget. I was in high school and one of my very close friends, she was going to the University of Alabama. And I was like, why do you want to go to Alabama? Like, what is there to do there? Like, I mean, I know Alabama had a good football team then, and well, they still do. But she had said something to me and it stuck with me. She was like, because I was like, I want to go to HBCU. I had really wanted to go to like either Spelman or Southern, because I wanted to be a dancer for Southern. But she had said, she was like, well, I wouldn't go to HBCU because the world is just not full of only Black people. We have to, work with people that are not just Black. And I was like, okay. I had never thought of it like that. So I was just like, well, maybe she's making some sense. So I didn't even apply to any other school but the University of Houston because I was really just confused on what I wanted to do. And U of H had a great hospitality program. I did not even know that Howard had a hospitality program until I went there for grad school because they didn't really promote it. Right. So fast forward, after graduating and after my friend didn't even finish from the University of Alabama, I was like, okay, if I ever go back to school, I'm going to HBCU because I feel like I missed out on the camaraderie and I like being with my people. So it's like U of H was a very diverse campus, yes, but I did not feel seen all the time, and I did not feel like I had a lot of the support that I wish I had or knew that I would have had I gone to HBCU. And one of my very close friends begged me to come with her to Prairie View A&M University, and I told her no. But I would always go down there for homecoming with her and would have so much fun. So when I went to Howard, I kind of got what I was missing. I was in a cohort with 20 other people from all over the world. And we built this very good, like strong bond because we were always helping each other. And, in grad school, we had to do a lot of team projects. So we were forced to be friends and friends that I still have to this day. I think that it's just important because we were able to see people that looked like us. One day I was on campus and Nick Cannon had walked by me and I was like, that's Nick Cannon. And so we were able to also get more opportunities and feedback from a lot of these that wouldn't always be accessible to us at a PWI. They would schedule, meetings just to come meet students who were Black because, of course, they're trying to hire more Black talent. Right. So I think it was just important for me and other students that we were able to see things happening for us, and we had the support and we had the fellowship for homecoming. Howard has one of the biggest homecomings next to North Carolina A&T, of course.
Yes, indeed.
But, to being able to fellowship with your people and feeling safe and like you're at home.
Yeah, that is significant. Thank you for that feedback. We obviously agree. Well, tell us what projects you have coming up.
So right now I'm working on a Mother's Day afternoon tea with my friend who is a florist. We're doing a Mother's Day afternoon tea at a Black-owned tea house here in Houston, where we're going to offer flower bouquet workshop, so you can make flowers with your mom. I'm going to have a tea buffet, food, and we're going to have a backdrop for you to take pictures with your mom. That's coming up on Mother's Day. I have a wedding the week after that, on May 17th. So I'm doing decor for that. And I'm working on doing something for Juneteenth. I am not sure what I'm doing just yet because my sponsor hasn't gotten back to me. And so I'm thinking I'm going to have to pivot. But normally for the past 3 years, Ciroc have been my sponsor, but haven't really heard back from them, so I might have to pivot and do something else. So those are the 3 projects I have coming up.
Okay. Um, it sounds like you have some amazing things coming up. I'm really excited about the B&B. We will be following you,
Thank
following
you.
your journey on social media to see how things are progressing. Certainly hope that you're able to make some resources and connections with your local land bank and community reinvestment fund, and really any CDFI,
Yes.
which are institutions that specifically help with the type of project that you
Right.
are looking to take on. So I'm encouraged for you and this
Thank
initiative
you.
and this project. Um, Before we go, tell everyone where we can find you, how we can connect with you. Where are you socially and otherwise?
Yes. So my website is yourbeckandcall.co. I'm on Instagram at Beck&Call Hospitality. That's the hospitality page, but I also have an event page called Events by Beck&Call. So that's where it's more like my portfolio where you can see all the events I've planned and have done decor for. I'm also on Facebook with the same handle, Beck&Call Hospitality, Beck&Call Events. I'm on TikTok. And then I have a YouTube channel. I don't use it as much, but we post some of our TikTok reels on there, recaps on YouTube as well.